Hi, in today's case study, here's a situation that really shows how fear doesn't always look like fear. A man came into my office to quit smoking after being told by his doctor that he only had months to live. And he treated the whole thing like it was a joke. I'm curious how you would have handled this. So let me start out with the story what happened. There's a doctor across the street from my office, and what I do for advertising is I go around to all the different doctors and businesses, and I give them coupons that they can put on their counter that usually says something along the lines of, "This coupon is good for $100 off the fourth session of a 4-week quit smoking program." So this doctor probably sent 12, 15 clients to me a year because he had a stack on there. So he didn't like to deal with smokers. So when this guy came in to see him for cancer, the doctor told him, "I'm not going to deal with you until you quit smoking. Here's a coupon. Go see the hypnotist across the street." So that's great for me for business. So anyways, the gentleman, he was referred to me before his treatment, and he came over to see me supposedly to quit. Now, when I begin doing most of my sessions, I usually ask people, on a scale of 1 to 10, your commitment level, where would you put your desire to quit smoking? And when I asked him that, he came up with like a 3 or a 4. He just wouldn't be serious. He kept on laughing and joking and basically making light of dying. He was deflecting every serious question that I gave him. Now, he wasn't angry, he wasn't hostile, he just wouldn't take anything seriously. So, uh, here's what happened once things became clear. He was uncommitted, obviously, and he was terrified. And humor was his way of, I guess you could say, staying emotionally distant from reality. So, when fear is that deep, people often act the opposite of how they feel. At least that's what I found. I realized that pushing motivation just wasn't going to work. I mean, he was a 3, so if I keep on telling him, "Well, you might wanna quit because of this or because of this, and how about your grandchildren?" He just was making jokes of it, and he wasn't taking it seriously. So he needed to stop hiding behind the humor. So I did something that might seem a little firm on the surface, but it was very intentional. I told him I couldn't help him and that he might as well leave if he didn't care. I even pointed at the door. I didn't say it angrily, I just directed him, and that seemed to break his pattern. You could hear a dead silence. He looked at me kind of confused, almost upset, and basically he stopped joking. It got quiet, and he finally admitted that he was scared. So the key point here is you can't treat avoidance with more persuasion. Sometimes you need to interrupt the defense. So once the fear was acknowledged, his commitment jumped to about an 8 or a 9. And I was able to do the session normally from there. Once we went through this confrontation and this shift in his attitude, I didn't need to fight resistance anymore because we were finally dealing with the real issue. He did want to quit. He did want to live. He had plenty of reasons to live. So I'm curious, how would you have handled this session or this client? Would you have continued trying to motivate him, or would you have confronted the avoidance more directly? If you did decide to move forward after that emotional shift, here's a simple direction or simple suggestions that you might take. These are the kinds of suggestions that I used. So you'll also find these in the pinned comments afterwards if you'd like to copy them. Let me go ahead and read them to you. You can allow yourself to face this one step at a time. You don't have to joke or push it away right now. It's okay to admit when something feels serious. You can be strong in acknowledging fear. Taking care of yourself can be an act of courage. Each positive step you take now supports your future. You can choose action that helps your body and your life. You know, you are capable of making decisions that move you towards health. Now, these are just suggestions that can help him to be able to accept. He needs to accept what he's doing so he can move forward. Of course, and then I gave him the suggestions or the standard suggestions that I would give someone to quit smoking. In closing, I'd like you to realize that sometimes resistance isn't a lack of commitment, it's a shield against fear. And once fear is acknowledged, change often becomes possible. I'd be interested to hear how you would have approached this situation. And please go ahead and subscribe if you'd like to hear more of these case studies. We're going to be doing more as time goes on. And if you have interesting case studies that you'd like to share with us that we can talk about and see how other people would have handled it, go ahead and either email them to me or leave them in the description below. So with that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.